Join us now as the Disney Channel salutes the American teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, the First Lady of the United States, Mrs. Barbara Bush.
I'm delighted to introduce William Hudson, Jr., the chairman of the math department at Dunbar High in Fort Worth, Texas. The students at Dunbar respect him as a teacher of advanced algebra and calculus. Perhaps even more important, his students admire Mr. Hudson as a man who believes in them and will go to any length to help them realize their dreams.
Okay, because of the negative in front of the quantity. Will that always be true?
To me, the hardest thing in teaching is not being able to convince a kid to try harder, to do more with what he has, because everybody can improve.
What's the axis of symmetry?
The axis of symmetry is x equals -3, and it's a...
I look at the kids that I have, and you sort of look into the future and you try to imagine what they're going to be like 20 years down the road or 30 years down the road. Will they be successful people? Will they be successful parents? Will they be alive? And there are many times when you wonder if what you're telling them has really convinced them to try something and to do that little harder thing than to take that easy way out.
Factor the first three, is that Walter? No, Walter didn't say that to me. No? So what are the factors?
Relating to kids is 99% of your job, I think. I may have the greatest knowledge in the world. I may be Einstein. But if I can't relate to the people I'm trying to give that knowledge to, then Einstein's brains would have been useless.
He pushes you to the limit as far as you can go. He makes you think, really brings it out in you. It's fun. It's nice to work with numbers and stuff. And to know you're getting the knowledge from a man as great as this, it's just great. It's fantastic.
Today is a very important day in the life of a mathematician. This person's name was Giva M. Quiz. And it's just Giva Quiz. That was her name. A very famous mathematician.
He's a very challenging teacher. He doesn't give you anything. You have to go reach out and get it.
Okay, any of these points we need to check? Are you sure of them? Are you sure this is right? Randy, you sure it's right?
I've got a number of students that have told me personally that they hope to be the type of man that Bill Hudson is. As far as Bill's teaching style, he is capable of taking essential elements that we are required to teach in the classroom and explain to the kids and relating them in a manner that kids today can understand. I mean, you've got to go just beyond the math book. You've got to go just beyond any type of textbook. You've got to be able to explain how what we're trying to teach relates to them on a daily life experience.
Okay, so make sure you do your reading, read it carefully, and see what you come up with. Okay, any questions?
The reason I think he's a good teacher is because he not only educates you, he motivates you. He makes you want to learn. He makes me want to learn pre-calculus. He wants to make me a better person.
I think it has to be a me and them situation as opposed to me versus them, because I'm not in opposition with them. I'm not in competition with these kids. But I am the person who's in their corner and pushing, whether I'm going to have to pull from the front or get behind and push them forward, or just be in that group and go with the flow. I'm willing and ready to accept any of those roles and go with it. But if I'm in front of that classroom and I build a little wall between myself and my students, I'm never going to touch them enough so that they actually learn something. And I'm not always talking about math. Just learn something about themselves, something about life. The situation is tough in here because we're dealing with a lot of one-parent families. We're dealing with kids who have a high level of dropping out. So I knew it was going to be a tough situation. But I knew it was also a situation that you could be a great success if you just cared about it, cared about what you were doing, and really cared about kids.
I think the main thing that Bill contributes to our community is the fact that he cares about our kids. He cares about the kids not only here in school, but he cares about them when they get out of the school here, when they graduate. He follows up on them. He stays with them as they go through life. They come back and they get with him. They let him know their successes, their failures. They become a part of his whole total program.
I'm a department chairman at school, and that role is one where part of my job seems to be to go around to provide any kind of assistance I can to the other teachers, because I want them to know that I'm just like they are. I'm just another teacher. Because when I go into their classrooms, not only am I going in possibly to say, hey, maybe you want to try this because I've tried this in my class or seen this worked in other classrooms. But I'm also going in to watch them and steal ideas for myself.
Thank you, sir. Tell us something about homework that Coach Sanders and I can use in our class.
Kind of a, if you want to say, a father-hen complex. He has a tendency to make the younger teachers comfortable. With Bill being there, he puts them at ease. He gives them help, and therefore makes them comfortable enough to become good teachers. If he sets a good role model for them, fine. If he sets one for the students, absolutely fine. The end result is everybody benefits from it. We all benefit from Bill Hudson being in this building.
As your counselor for SAT, you got to get in quick because the deadline's coming up.
For a teacher, it has to be inner enthusiasm because I can't go in there and fake it to that kid. So enthusiasm for myself with the fact that I believe I'm touching kids. I believe that I can help some of these kids along the way. And if I ever get to a point where I don't have that feeling, where I don't think that I'm changing things for them or giving them an opportunity to change things for themselves, then I think it's time to come out of that classroom. I haven't reached that point yet. I think you roll with the punches and you go with it. You have good days and bad days because you're human, not because you're a teacher, just because you're human.